my, I don't know how to go to just say an avatar. You're not going to be able to see me. I got to drive with my light on. This is tacky. So look, I just wanted to chop it up for a few minutes on the drive-in. I'm going in super early today. I had various topics I wanted to talk about. They're not related to anything. Go ahead and take this exit shortly here. So look, this is what I wanted to say. Just a few random pieces of notes. I got up this morning. I checked my social media. And someone left a comment for me. And I actually really like comments. The only thing I'm all about is like, don't be condescending. So, you know, if you're condescending, and depending on my mood, if I'm feeling froggy that day, you might get a froggy kind of answer. So I just like to let people know, for the record, like, I am here for open dialogue. But when you start trying to tell me what to do, or, you know, yeah, I'm like, look, I'm grown, you're grown, we're not going to do that. Don't be condescending. I'm trying to keep this, you know, above board. So I just want to put that out there to everyone. If you catch me on the right day, you might catch me saying something crazy. And I'm not really interested in doing that. There's no real upside to that. So let's not be crazy. Now, I do recognize that the fact I said that is probably going to invite in more crazy comments. But I do enjoy the comments. I really enjoy when people really actually disagree. It's always good to have people wanting to present other perspectives. It doesn't mean I'm going to change my opinion, but I do like to hear them. Every once in a while, I'll be like, oh, good point. All right, moving on. So, I was thinking about how I heard something about people, you know, there's this thing about dating beneath you or whatever it was, and there's been a couple of people putting different things out there on social media on various platforms, and this is my thing about the so-called dating down. And I don't want to have to mince words, so take it with a grain of salt. I remember, I think I did a live on this maybe 6 months ago. I don't remember. I forgot what the title was. But when you talk about so-called dating down, years ago in my, I would say mid-20s, maybe 26, just past mid-20s, 26-ish, I remember dating someone who was a security guard. Well, I don't even know if you consider that dating. I wanted to give him a fair shot. He was fine. And long story short, it was like the worst decision I made. And for, like, he didn't have enough money. He was tacky. There were so many things that went into it. And this is the thing that I will say to anyone, men, women, whatever. I mean, like, I know it's not going to be equal as far as men, right? Like, I mean, like, it's what's the word? It'll come to me in a moment. With women, I say this. A lot of men cannot handle if you are super successful, okay? I don't care what anybody tells you. I don't care what men, let me see, can I take this off for a while? Oh no, it's too dark. Okay, I don't care what men try to tell you, like, oh, you know, he's a good man. Listen to me. You don't want to date someone who is putting pennies on your dollars. I said it. You don't want to date someone who's putting pennies on your dollars. It doesn't work. You're accustomed to a certain lifestyle and doing certain things, and if he can't match that, I'm not talking about if you make 100K, he makes 90, or you make 150, he makes 125, or if you make 60, he makes 55. Okay, that's close. I'm talking about if you're making 100 and he's making 40. If you're making 200 and he's making, 80. It doesn't mean he's a bad person, but I'm going to be honest. You're not operating in the same financial strata. You're probably accustomed to different things, treated a certain way, etc. So when I was dating, yes, in my 20s, I was making a lot of money. And my thing was, I was very spoiled. So for me to go from spoiling myself and just being spoiled in general to someone who was on a struggle bus with taking me out, it was a turn off for me. And then he was tacky about it. Then he started lying about it. It was just, don't get me started. You cannot deal. I'm just calling a thing a thing. Dating someone who can put pennies on your dollars. No, it doesn't work. I mean, like, there's always an exception to every rule. But what I'm saying is that doesn't generally work. Now, I know that everyone's like, oh, you know, that it's not the same. Why is it that men? I'm like, well, look, none of us are judged by the same standards. Men and women, they apparently have different rules. And before people start getting in my comments or something saying, oh, I thought you were a feminist, I've made it very clear I'm a faux feminist, F-A-U-X feminist. So we're not going to start with that. I'm like a sometimes hypocritical feminist. So, with that being said, like, I do believe in the equality of the sexes in terms of education and voting and that types of things. The fact of the matter is, when it comes to the matters of the heart, men and women typically are not going to be judged the same way. Just call it for what it is. So, yeah, I'm not about that. Like, if a guy, I don't care how nice he is, if he's making $20 an hour and you're making $250K a year, it's not going to work. It's not. And anybody who tries to gaslight you and tell you that you're being materialistic or whatever, you got to move on. Take the body blow. Don't waste your mental cycles on the conversation. It's like the dumbest. It's like silly. But yeah, that's just where I'm at with it. Like, I mean, you gotta call a thing a thing. I'm like, you're used to a certain standard, and now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, well, you need to date some regular dudes. I don't know. I say expand your options to other people, maybe. But the fact of the matter is, you're not going to be happy. So it's like you have to come, I hate saying come down, but you have to come down because somebody else doesn't measure up. No, you're used to certain things. And so it's not fair to you. You know, so like I said, people are going to try to come at you a certain kind of way. Let them yip-yap. Yip and yap. Yap and yip. Let them talk. The fact of the matter is, you have to live your life. Now, a lot of people will also come and say, oh, you educated women, but whatever. Let them talk. I think the only thing that you should be doing at this point is considering all your options. Moving on past that. Don't let men, don't date, I would say men and women, if you're in same-sex relationships or whatever, putting pennies on your dollars doesn't typically work, at least from a woman's standpoint. The power dynamics are just too great. It's just, no. Moving on, I want to talk about reality television for a second, because I know that Potomac show was on the other day, and people had a lot to say. I've caught some of the commentary, which, like I said, I stand by what I said. There's a lot that went on in that show, and this is what I would say to everybody. Like, people really need to not be so invested in these characters, because in real life, if someone continuously harms you or says something to you or whatever it is, you're not going to continue to hang around them. You're not going to call them friends. And that goes for all of the shows, Married to Medicine, the Atlanta Housewives, Beverly Hills, etc. These women are all personas, okay? So, I can only invest but so much into it anyway. Like, I was listening to some people yesterday, and I was like, these people are really caught up. I'm like, you cannot get that caught up in the shenanigans of it all. I think that when I don't know if people see a little of themselves in these characters that are on television. Like I said, when I referenced those ladies from Potomac, you know, I said a lot of things yesterday, and I stand by it, you know. And a lot of people don't want to admit this. I'm going to say it again. If you go back and watch that episode, Mia was wrong for throwing that water, but you know what led up to it was she was being messy. I don't understand why she thought it was her business to get into Wendy's business. Wendy took a shot. Yes, she did. Whether people want to accept it or not, it's separate. Wendy took a shot at Mia. I don't know what goes on in your marriage, and you may be doing this, that, and the other. She took a shot, and then, Mia decided to toss the water or whatever it was that was in that glass. So Mia has to learn to control herself. She's like Robin. Robin cannot control herself. But, Wendy took a shot, and like I say, words have meaning, words balance. So people think, oh, I fought with my words, and they think that they have some upper hand. I'm like, you don't know how anyone is going to react. Okay, I'm not saying it's right what Mia did, but you continue, if you say certain things, and like I said, Mia was flat out wrong. If you are being reckless with your tongue, they talk about in the Bible, there's power in the tongue. You can use it for healing, and you can use it for destruction. And let me tell you something, you don't have to like it, everyone. But Wendy did say some reckless things. I'm not saying she was necessarily wrong, but what she did was, because Mia was minding her business and Mia was out of line, she started to go below the belt, coming after her marriage. Okay? Messy versus going below the belt are two different things. Then Mia escalates it further by throwing water, and I was like, or whatever it was, I'm like, what is your problem? Like, you need to learn how to control yourself. You're like a child. You're like Candace. And then Wendy, the professor, she continues to embarrass herself. I can understand the initial reaction, like, no, she did not try to throw whatever on me. But then she continued on, and she made a fool of herself. I said what I said. She made a fool of herself. It is what it is. I'm sure she's probably looking back like, oh, why did I continue on? So yes, her initial shock and surprise and all that, I totally get it. But she continued on talking about how she was going to beat the girl and this, that, and the other. I'm like, sit down. Sit down. She's too busy taking shots at Mia's face. I'm like, wait a second, Wendy, didn't you just get a whole new body? You didn't even like your body, but you're taking a shot at another woman's body? And I get it, because she was mad. I mean, look, to be honest, I don't know what would come out of my mouth if someone would try to throw something at me. I mean, just being honest. I mean, like, I might be like, bleep, 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 bleep. But nevertheless, she took a shot at Mia's, I'm going to say, beauty aesthetic. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, but Wendy, you don't even like yourself. You don't like yourself. Like I said, we're just chopping it up this morning on the drive-in. Every time I see pictures of her, she's got on makeup like 500 shades lighter than what she is. That foundation doesn't match her. Or she's got some different kind of lighting, or they're lightening her photos. She went and bought a whole new body, but she wants to go after another woman's body. And then she admits, when she was having her rant, during her rant, she even admits how, like, oh, she just made up the stuff because she was mad. So now she just makes up lies. I'm like, come on. So what happens is, a lot of people are invested in the act of being mad at whatever character they like. People have their favorites. So whatever character they like, they have blind spots. They flat out have a blind spot. And they'll be like, no, did you see something? Like, if you rewind the tape back, you'll see what I'm saying. Rewind it back. And then towards the end of the episode, the producers gave the timestamps. So, everybody can miss me. Now, these characters that people are invested in, they get way too invested in. And let me just tell you something. That's the reason why I don't have a problem with even talking about Beyonce. And she's talented, by the way. Let me tell you something. These characters, and I said what I said, these walking personas, I'm not that invested. I don't think that's who they are, or maybe that's exactly who they are. Either way, you're either something that would turn me off, or you're not even being yourself. And everyone's caught up. Everyone wants to shade and drag each other. The show isn't even fun anymore. It's turned into trash. When people are like looking at Candace as if she's like, dun, 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 dun. Like, that's how I see her. I'm like, oh, what is she gonna do now? There's like, I don't expect anything good from her. I expect her to start chirping and yelling and just being nasty. She's always a victim. And she does this weird head thing where she's like clucking and carrying on. And I'm like, that's what I expect. I expect her to say something vicious. I expect Giselle to attack everyone's relationships. I expect Robin, I don't even know what her deal is this season. She's just a disaster. I expect Candace to be nasty. I expect Karen, who I used to really, really love, I expect her to continue to, I think, believe in the hype. I think she's being gassed up by the public now, and now she's believing all of it. Yeah, like she's starting to get, like, crazy, like, so yeah, I expect that. I expect Mia to be a ding dong, although sometimes she can be funny, but right now I'm not feeling all that shenanigans with the throwing of I'm like, what is your problem? And I expect Wendy to try to act like she's so above it all when she's not, because when she really starts talking, you can hear her. I think that the only thing she thinks she has is the fact that she's got all this education. I'm like, there are educated people on that cast. I know she wouldn't be able to throw that at me. I'm like, oh honey, oh honey. I think she thinks because she has education that she's above all these ladies. She may say something different, and that's probably all she probably feels like she has on these ladies, because she's not, like, for what I understand, like super wealthy. I think you got women who are just super beautiful on this cast, and even though I think she's a very attractive woman, I think she's probably threatened by other people's beauty. Look at all the things that she's done to her body, and the makeup that she wears that doesn't match her foundation. I mean, the foundation that doesn't match her face. I would even put Candace in there a little bit. The over contouring and carrying on is so weird. It's so weird. Anyway, so that's that on that. I don't know. There was something else I was going to talk about, but I'm getting close to my end destination, so I guess I'm going to have to end this soon. But, the whole situation, it was just like, ugh. I think that's the reason why I keep falling asleep on it. I don't even know if I'll watch next season, depending on how this ends, because it's too draining. I'm not interested in watching women who look like me get on TV, malign each other's character, call each other bees and hoes every 2 seconds. That's what I see. And they take pride in shading and reading and dragging each other. And then I'm like, there's